DNVR Buffs Prime Time. Coming to you here from the DNVR bar on the corner of Colfax and York. And Dre, I need the camera real quick. Ring me. Ring me up. Ring me up. I feel like I deserve a ring. We had a banner month in March.
Did we?
I feel like we dominated March Madness.
Wow.
Ring-worthy month.
Yeah, I mean, when you're up 20-plus units on the tourney, betting only underdogs, and you're a righteous man because of it, it kind of is true. Yeah.
I was more talking about, like, the views on this channel. And like the interviews and the guests.
Oh my gosh, some amazing guests.
Some amazing guests. We're just getting started though.
I was not saying that as because I'm one of those guests. I would not include myself in the amazing guests. Other guests, really amazing stuff. Check them out.
There you go. But I want to talk about to start off the show, probably the most talked about topic in sports today. And that is, of course, the shit talking that went down at the end of the national championship game between Iowa and, of course, the national champion LSU Tigers.
Go Tigers.
There you go. I was setting you up for that. I think that the conversation around this is absolutely wild. It blows my mind.
Well,
because the people that have competed in sports,
some of it's sadly not wild and like.
You're right. It shouldn't be shocking.
Some of the ickiness that we see on the internet
it's just
every
annoying
single
to
day.
me. It's just annoying to me because like people tuned into women's basketball for the first time ever and then had to have like terrible takes about things that didn't have to do with the game.
Yeah, and then the ref jobs suck.
The refs ruined the game for sure.
Really horrible.
But I wanted to talk about this because I just feel like it's crazy that this conversation is happening.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because those of us that have, and it's not like I've competed at the highest level of sport.
Yep.
But I played sports my whole life.
Yep.
And, you know, I personally have had a reputation of chirping a little bit. And so I feel like I come from a unique place of knowledge here where
Ryan's a problem if you're around him at a sporting event and he does not have your same rooting interest. Yes.
When you are a shit talker, which is what Caitlin Clark is, and let me be clear, I love it.
Yep.
But when you are a shit talker and you get got, you are going to get it back twice as good. And you deserve it. And when you talk, you open yourself up to that. Yep. And so this is not an anti-Caitlin Clark sentiment at all.
Right.
But it is very much a pro-Angel Reese sentiment.
Yeah.
Because
extremely pro both, I'd say.
Exactly.
And the way they are on the court.
Sports have shit talk.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best parts. Think of like some of your favorite players. Shannon Sharp, all-time great shit talker.
One of the greats.
You know, you can go on down the list. Like the guys who can chirp always bring a little extra, or the gals who can chirp always bring a little extra to the game. So Kobe, you know, like
Jordan, of course.
Jordan, these guys all wanted to beat you, but not just beat you. They wanted to beat you and let you know that they were beating you. Caitlin Clark is one of the all-time greats, women's college basketball. And she likes to let you know when she's getting you. Mm-hmm. When you get got, it's coming back. And I love that Angel Reese got her good. And honestly, Caitlin, I don't think she would tell you she had an issue with it. Like, obviously, it wasn't fun.
Yep.
But that's what it is. Like, even on Twitter.
Yeah, what can you do?
Like, when the Nuggets or Avs are in a playoff series, like, I always pipe up against the other team's fans.
Yeah.
And I know that if we lose this series, they're coming after me.
Right, you're going to get it.
And I just got to sit there and I got to take it.
Yeah.
But it's so lame that we've gotten to this, like, pearl clutching over this whole thing. And I think there's a lot of problems at hand. Obviously, race is one of them.
Sure.
It would be silly to ignore that.
Yep.
Another thing is that people just tuned in to that tournament for the first time yesterday. So they didn't know about Caitlin Clark's history. And they're like, wow, they're just being so mean to her, you know? Like, that poor thing, which also isn't right either. Like, these are athletes.
Yep.
They're competing at the highest level. They don't need your sympathy.
Yep.
And they can be talked to a little bit.
Yep.
And so my last thing I think on this, and I'll give you the floor, is when you win, because people are like, you shouldn't do it once you've already won. When you win is when, in my opinion,
It is when you do
you
it.
have the floor to go
It
off.
is when you do it.
And you should.
Yep.
Because you might never get that chance again.
For sure.
So you got to stand up on your soapbox and say, we're the best. We beat your ass. Here you go.
And at least to her face. Not talking shit in some presser.
Yep.
Not doing some whack videos on live after the game right there in her face. I mean, she talked about how she took offense to how Caitlin Clark and Iowa was defending South Carolina. That seemed to get under her skin. Whatever you need as a competitor, do your thing.
That is a great point.
Do your thing.
You got to find little ways. Like, Caitlin Clark is a beast. You got to find a way to hate her.
100%.
Because you need that little extra.
It's a great point.
Like, let's just, who also talks? Caleb Williams. That Buffs defense, if they watch highlights of him chirping at people, showing the shit on his fingernails, all that shit, like, they should go into that game hating him.
Yep.
Because it just gives you that little extra edge.
Yep.
And I love that you said that, because I think LSU, whether they know it internally or not, they manufactured a reason to hate Caitlin Clark so they could go a little bit extra in that game, and it worked. And obviously, Caitlin got hers and
that Iowa team as a whole, I think.
Yes,
yes. And I mean, geez, what a third quarter scoring performance. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, race is at hand. So much of this is sexism, though. Like, we just don't treat male hoopers they're not treated to this standard.
No one would be saying
everyone can do the too small celly. You were bringing it off air. Yes. Drew Timmy and the stash. Like, yeah, no one gives a shit. It's hoops, man.
Yes.
It's hoops. Like,
no one would be saying, oh, poor Drew Timmy. I can't believe they were doing that in his face.
Right. And I mean, like, you play hoops anywhere in the world, just some blacktop. We're going to get into it. We're going to chirp. We're going to talk some stuff. I was talking at intramurals at Western, like, and if I'm, at any game and I feel there's the need for some extra juice, I will be given that juice and taking advantages where I need, and like making it a hostile place if I've got the home court advantage. Like, that's just what you do. You do what you got to do because you care, because you're passionate, because you give a shit. And that's what we should be celebrating, is how these phenomenal athletes in one of these showcase games for the entire sport were able to talk their shit. And the rest of the game was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, for sure. It was funny when Caitlin Clark did the, like, I'm not guarding you thing to South Carolina. Allie was like, that's right out of your book. I literally, in the finals of a rec league, which again, very low stakes.
I love that.
I was up against a guy who I could not guard. So I just didn't. And I was like, don't guard him. Don't need to guard him. Like, I just sagged off on 3 and I got in his head and we ended up winning. And like,
that's insane.
That's gamesmanship.
It is.
Now, Caitlin Clark was also reading that off the scouting report. And also decided to put a little extra on it to get in her head.
Yeah, she put some extra on it.
And the thing is, like, when someone does that to you, you want to shoot it so bad. But you can hear your coach in the back of your head telling you not to shoot it too. Yeah. And now they're in your head. So I love that. I personally love it. I think we need more shit talking in sports. I think that obviously there's something to sportsmanship. Like, I appreciate a good handshake line after the game. Like, yeah, big time. The heat of battle is over. Congratulations,
for sure.
Great, great competition. But I think sportsmanship on the whole, it gets a little bit like people want to use it as an excuse for everything. That's bad sportsmanship. It's like, no, the adrenaline that you have in these moments is so high that, like, you got to let them talk. Like, the taunting rule in the NFL drives me insane. Like, these are grown ass adults. They can handle someone yelling at them when they're on the ground.
Well, and it's where baseball's kind of lost it and is trying to find it again, because they've gotten so far with the taunting and stuff like that, where it's taken away from what makes baseball lit.
Yeah, exactly. Baseball, like, have you ever seen the Korean baseball league with the bat flips?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Shit is awesome. I want to see CJ Crone throw his bat like into the crowd after he hits a home.
Or like in the Dominican or Cuba, they're way more like they're slapping, they're just getting into it, and chirping at each other. Like every homer is like a big deal, like
exactly
an in-your-face type thing.
All right, one more basketball bit of news here. Buffs got a big-time transfer, and I emphasis on big. Eddie Lampkin, who you might remember from TCU's tournament run, not this season, but last season. Mm-hmm. Their most notable game was against Arizona, and they had Arizona beat. They absolutely should have won that game. They kind of choked it away late. Ben Matherin makes a buzzer beater 3 to elevate them. But in that
Canada's finest.
Eddie Lampkin, 20 points, 14 rebounds.
Wow.
And
he's just a sophomore.
And he is a huge addition, no pun intended, to this team. Obviously, you lose Lawson Lovering. And a lot of people were really concerned about that because of what Lawson brought on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. It's an interesting trade. Now, Lampkin is going to bring you the strength, right?
Yep.
He's going to bring you the strength on the block. Like, he's not going to get pushed around, which honestly was one of my issues with Lawson.
Yep.
But Lawson was really good, hedging out on screens, that sort of stuff. This guy, not quite as
rangy.
Yeah, it's a great word. That being said, way more offensively polished. Lawson pretty much gave you next to nothing for most of the season until the end of the season offensively. Lampkin's one of those guys, you toss it down to him on the block, he's going to get you buckets down there. And, if you find him in transition or you find him in space, he's going to get up, he's going to make those layups, he can dunk it. He's much more fast to the rim than Lawson was. So I'm actually really hyped about it. KJ Simpson, Tristan Da Silva, this guy,
Cody Williams,
who you're adding to the mix. They've got a starting five for sure, a top tier starting five.
Indeed, they do.
Need some shooting.
Some way too early ranking glove as well.
They're getting ranked, huh?
Not bad.
All right, let's get into some Buffs football.
Yeah,
the boys are back today, and as I learned very early in the Coach Prime era from our good friends in the comment section,
yes,
Coach Prime does not lie. Coach Prime does not lie. He tells you how it is, and you can trust what he says is going to be the truth. And at the last practice of spring, before spring break, he told them, y'all better come back in shape because we are running the day that you get back. And if you're not ready to go, you're out of here. And boy, did he run them today to Dre.
Yeah.
I believe it was 6 100s and 4 40s. Or was it 4 100s and 6 40s? One or the other.
Yeah, I think the latter.
All parceled off in groups.
Was correct.
And what he told them is, if one person in your group doesn't make it by the buzzer, you're going to have to do it again. And Dre, I instantly got like PTSD anxiety from running in sports.
I wish you guys could have seen it. I don't think I've ever seen you so nervous as watching a practice on your phone of kids running. You were just getting secondhand anxiety. Huh? Yeah.
Yes, I was literally watching for these guys, and I was just like, I know the feeling. Like, I've absolutely, and I don't even necessarily think any of these guys were slacking over spring break or whatever. There's just the big boys who were struggling.
Yeah.
And like, I've been that guy when I show up to like the first football practice of the season. The coach had told you guys better stay in shape all off season. I absolutely did not do that. And they're saying like, all right, we're running 4 laps around here. You guys have this much time. And if you don't, if someone doesn't make the timer, y'all have to do it again. Like, my heart was just like racing at practice. And I literally got a flashback to that. And I was just like dying for these boys who are just trying so hard, but like you get more, it's like it compounds itself. You just keep getting more and more tired.
We got it wrong. It was 10 hundreds?
10 hundreds, 640s. Yikes.
take me all afternoon to get that.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm not hitting any of Coach Prime's thresholds, I can tell you that much.
I don't think I could get it by the end of the show. But I have to say, I think I've mentioned this before. Those guys have a little extra in the tank for Coach Prime because they don't want to let him down. And I think when he told them, you better get your work in over the break or else you're going to be hurting when you come back.
They got that done?
I think they got it in. I really do. I really think that they worked. Whether it's 90 or 99% of the team or maybe even 100, I think that they knew I'm not going to be the guy who gets singled out for, drinking and smoking and eating all break without getting any work done.
For a second, I thought you were going to break into a country song for us. Drinking and smoking. Yeah. It's, these kids have to realize they have a pretty unique opportunity on their hands.
I think they do.
Especially the guys who, on this transfer bubble. I think that's an interesting part of what's going on right now is these slightly too many players more than the roster spot. I think everyone wants to be there, man. It's a hot ticket. This ain't the Buffs when you were covering them.
For damn sure it's not that. It's true. It's like all of a sudden, and it should have always been this way, but all of a sudden wearing Colorado on your chest has become a privilege, not a right. Yeah. And do you know how much that fires me up?
Don't give me goose. I know you give me goosebumps because I know how important this is to you. It's pretty amazing.
Like there are people
pretty incredible
waiting. I mean, literal vultures in the sky waiting for one of them to drop so they can pounce and take that jersey off their back. The amount of people who would love to put on that jersey,
as it should be,
is incredible. And like we're only talking about the top tier transfers that are coming here, but every 3-star transfer, no rank transfer, whoever it is, they want to wear that jersey too. Mm-hmm. So there is someone nipping at your heels at all times. And I truly believe that this team understands that. And like I said, maybe it's 90%, maybe it's 99%. Yeah. These boys understand I can be replaced. I just don't think that existed before. And so if you're, the number 3 wide receiver on that team last year that won 1 game, you're not really looking over your shoulder thinking like, oh man, someone could be coming for my spot at any moment.
Right. If anything, your motivation is, oh man, I better play good so I can go somewhere else. Like
that too. But really it's more, I don't want to lose this. I want to play for Coach Prime. I want to run out to 53,000 on their feet behind Ralphie, against Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And it has created, it almost like, it almost compounds on itself on a daily basis. Of just like, you want it so bad. You want to be here so bad. You want Coach Prime's respect so bad that you just work harder. And the next day you work harder. And then you can push a little further. And then you get a little better. And like, it's why when people say things like, oh, Colorado's celebrity coach, or they like, they take little shots, essentially alluding to the fact that Coach Prime is merely a recruiting tool.
These Matt Rule pressers you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. Right now? It's why when I hear that, I'm just like, no, you don't get it, because Coach Prime is legitimately coaching the hell out of these kids.
Yep.
And he's making them better, even just by his presence, but also with his football acumen and the coaching staff that he's built around them. I mean, at the very end of the well-off video today, you see Sal Sunseri, who is the second defensive line coach, because the first one already got elevated to the Minnesota Vikings, but he's just going at him like my group is not going to be the one holding us back in this situation, and if you have an issue with that, go play a different position, because it ain't going to be here. And it's just like, man, this staff,
and that's Prime's biggest influence. He's a standard bearer, he's a standard setter, and he does not compromise those standards.
And that's sick.
It's a lot of people can talk about that. Very few people are actually about that and actually follow through.
It's really true, man. It's really true. And I think that's such a great term. We talk about like CEO types, and he's like such a mix of all of it. You can't really put Coach Prime in a coaching archetype. Is he a CEO type? Is he a hands-on? He's not going to call the plays,
Right.
But he'll have his hand in every single game plan. He's a football savant. He is, I think, an incredible CEO. Like anyone, any company in the world would probably have Coach Prime be their CEO. Because people, again, he gets people to raise their level. So
it's true.
That was a hell of a practice for all the big fellas. I feel your pain. I might run a couple hundreds in solidarity.
No kidding. Who do you think was right? Shador, that Bucky's in trouble, or Bucky that Shador's in trouble?
I don't think anyone's in trouble, but I find it hilarious that they like use that as like hey, your daddy's looking for you.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
That's amazing.
Caught up on some of the spring break content as well. Loved just seeing Shador out there with Jimmy Horn, Montana Lamonius Craig, just getting reps in. Timing is just so big in this offense that anytime I see these guys using their free time to work on their timing for games that they aren't playing for months on end, fires me up. I don't know how many college athletes are doing that. Give me a percentage of you think quarterbacks that were working with their wide receivers in another state over spring break. And I don't mean like throwing the ball around on the beach with girls in bikinis.
I think it's about, you can count them on two hands. I don't think there's much more than that.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And
just feels like there's an opportunity right here and everyone understands it.
I completely agree.
It's more like an NFL vibe in that sense.
100%. And it's crazy that is, of course, it's being led by Coach Prime at the very top. But Shador I think he's holding his guys to an NFL standard. He's having NFL conversations with them about route depth and how to react to coverages. I've never seen that. I've seen Trevor Siemian and Emmanuel Sanders. I once just got to be a fly on the wall during a conversation where Trev was sitting at Emmanuel's locker and they were just like going through film of their opponent. And he's just like, okay, if he's shaded here, like I want you to be here. And it was like, I could just watch that for the rest of my life.
Right.
But then you see like Shador is doing that with Seydou Traore, and he's doing that with Jimmy Horn. He's doing it with Travis Hunter. And it's just like, that's another one where I'm just like, you might be able to count on a few hands how many players are executing and practicing and preparing at that level. We're in March. Well, we're now in April, but I just don't think it's like that. And that's why they call him grown. And that's why, that's why he talks about Tom Brady as his hero. Like he is not messing around.
No,
I don't think people are prepared for how little he's messing around.
I know. You're getting me excited.
It was kind of interesting. So I watched, he was on, I forget what they call it, but it was Brandon Marshall and one of the co-hosts from I Am Athlete do like a little side thing. And he was on it. The paper route, maybe it's called. And he's already so conditioned to be a quarterback. He's a 21-year-old kid who is who carries himself at the level of a 30-year-old NFL veteran. And they're kind of like asking him questions. And like, I don't even think he would have had to like stray away from the company line too much to answer him. But he's just like, they're asking him like, what makes you special? He's like, I can't answer that. If I did, I would sound cocky. Like, you have to ask other people what makes me special. It was just like, man, it's hilarious. Like, legitimately, it's awesome, but it's also comical to see a kid just like, he knows just knows the game, like metaphorically and literally.
He's whatever the opposite of a headache CEO is. I mean, he like, between the ears, that's where he's just like, oof.
It's unreal and
super special.
And I'm just excited to see what the future holds for him. Like, we're looking at if there's 5 levels, we might be seeing level 3 of Shador right now.
Yep, absolutely.
And hopefully we see a level 5 before he leaves us. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see level 5 by the end of this season. And he's getting talked about as a first round draft prospect.
It's gonna be crazy.
All right. Before we move on, a shout out to our presenting sponsor, Illegal Pete's.
Boom.
Get on down to Illegal Pete's. I love that. I used to ask our guests, like, are you an Illegal Pete's guy? Now I just say, what's your Illegal Pete's order? Because everyone's an Illegal Pete's guy or gal.
Everyone. It's true.
We've been giving our guests like T-shirts and stuff. But one of the things they get most hyped about is I've been giving our guests free chips and queso at Illegal Pete's, and they're like, "Oh, are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, we also just gave you like some really cool T-shirts." They're like, "But this chips and queso." So shout out to our friends over at Illegal Pete's. Check out any of their Colorado locations, and enjoy yourself some reverse nachos or whatever you may end up having as your order. Also, Shady Rays. We're almost there, dude. I have a tea time on the books on Saturday.
Whoa,
that's how you know. That's how you know it's sunglasses season is here.
It's coming. It'll snow tomorrow, and it'll be 80s by next weekend.
Yeah. I think it's I'm going Saturday. It's supposed to be like 75 and sunny.
Lit, bro. Lit.
So nice.
Yep.
But we gotta have our Shady Rays out on the course.
Gotta
protect you from harmful UV rays. Also keep you looking fresh. We had our guy Matt McChesney. We got to get him some Shady Rays. He was just rocking his shades on set.
I know.
Where's your shades?
They're upstairs.
All right. Yeah. So check out our friends over at Shady Rays. Use code DNVR to get 2-for-1 deal.
Insane deal.
That's a sick deal.
No, they're already really good glasses at really good prices. Then you get to get 2 glasses at the price of 1. Stupid.
And if you're like me, you might just get the same pair twice because you know you're going to lose one.
There you go. There you go. That's a real vets trick right there.
Also, Backus and Shanker. You know the deal. If you need to sue, smash that 2.
Oh, that should do
222.
Boom.
Hit up our friends over at Backus and Shanker. They win for Colorado families if you get injured and it's not your fault. And you don't have to pay anything until they win. That's how confident they are that they're gonna get you that dub. So check out Backus and Shanker. We had Kyle Backus here in the bar the other day.
True homie.
He is. He was actually really chill. We were talking college ball with him. He's a Florida guy. Yeah. We were, breaking down Anthony Richardson's draft abilities with him. So it was a good time, and we appreciate him. Also, he's on the prime train.
I should hope so.
Pretty much everyone is.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Like, even CSU fans, which actually makes me uncomfortable, are sometimes saying like, well, like, I've been a CSU fan my whole life, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't rooting for it to work out with Coach Brown and the Buffs. I'm like, if you were in the same position, I would not be saying the same thing.
No, but you should know it raises all boats. They should be rooting in secret for Buff's success because that could raise their level.
Fair enough. All right, you got a DraftKings pick of the week for us?
On the spot like
yes.
that?
Yes.
Can I give you a draft prop?
Sure.
I think if you smash the over 4.5 wide receivers at DraftKings Sportsbook, you can get that in the plus 230s as of yesterday. So, like, really nice. You go to NFL 2023 draft.
Wait, 4.5 wide receivers in the first round?
You go to position totals, and then you go over 4.5 wide receivers. Yes.
Okay, talk me through them.
Okay, so
Quinn Johnston, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
That's right. There's a locked-in top 4, and that's the 2 you just named, and then Jordan Addison, ever heard of him, and Zay Flowers out of Boston College, diminutive phenom. And then someone like a Jalen Hyatt, a Josh Downs, they'll slip into the end of round 1.
Josh Downs had a 400-yard receiving game in our Madden League this year.
Wow. That's incredible. They're both fast. We like our speed in the NFL.
We love it.
And
we love to overdraft speed, too.
Exactly. It's a little bit of a top-heavy class, so right? It sets itself up nicely. Plus 230 is, like, really good odds.
Yep. All right, I'll give out San Diego State plus 290. It's our last chance for one more dog. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen.
UConn's just putting teams to sleep,
Doesn't it feel like they're due?
I guess.
Like, it's not like they're a perfect team. They were a 4 seed.
To get whooped?
Remember when Gonzaga ran through everyone and then got smacked by Baylor in the final?
Glorious. Ryan was in on Baylor. One of his best calls ever.
What was that guy? It wasn't Donovan Mitchell. It was... something else Mitchell, who was a perimeter defender.
Basically, Donovan
He
Mitchell.
wore 45 as well.
Yeah, here. We'll
I think he's on the Kings now.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Upstart Kings team.
Yeah, he's, God damn it.
Anyways.
What's their bean?
Light the beam.
All I could think of was the other.
I don't even know what that means. Do they have a beam in the stadium?
Light the beam, yeah. Yeah, that's something they do in Sacramento, apparently. They light a beam when the Kings win.
Oh, it's like a spire on the roof of the stadium?
Uh-huh. It's that or the state capitol. It's one or the other.
Okay, all right, light the beam. I mean,
I've heard worse.
it's catchy.
Yeah, I've heard worse.
Yeah, I've heard Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah, that one's rough. That one's rough for sure.
All right, anyways, those are our DraftKings pick of the week. Get over to DraftKings, use the code DNVR when you sign up to get in on all of their fantastic deals and our picks of the week. Of course, age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Deals are void in Ohio.
Suck it, Ohio.
All right, Dre, it's a favorite game.
As Steven says, Davion Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell.
Dang.
It's so close to Donovan.
It's
my
so
brain.
close. It sent us.
And the 45 really just, yep. Okay. So it's a favorite game of ours here on the show. We love a little fill in the blank.
Yeah, you guys do, huh? That's
and so we're going to play a little fill in the blank
about.
here in the second segment today.
Okay.
And I'm going to let Alyssa bring these up in whatever order that she prefers.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Yep.
Tyler Brown said Roman lights my beam. All right.
That's amazing.
Fill in the blank. This actually isn't fill in the blank. This is just answer a question, but it's similar to fill in the blank.
Right.
I guess the fill in the blank would be the Buffs leading rusher
blank.
will be blank.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Good, Ryan.
And your answer?
You want me to start us off? I think this is the toughest one of the bunch.
Talk me through. You don't have to give your answer yet. Talk me through why it's the toughest one of the bunch for you.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. I think if you just looked at it on paper, it's hard to know how the returning guys will be liked by Coach Prime, right? So, while Deion Smith might seem safe, I don't know that he is all that safe.
Mm-mm.
Then Cavassier smoke. I don't know why I said it. Fontenot, Hankerson. Who's the kid from Aurora? Jalen Stacks?
Jaylee Stacks.
Jaylee Stacks. They're all kind of bigger backs. So that's not the profile of a leading rusher. This doesn't strike me as like an offense where the goal line back's going to really be getting a ton of carries.
I love me some Jaylee Stacks, and I just know he'll never get like I kind of wish he would transfer to somewhere that I got to watch the games. Like I want him to transfer to Air Force. Because Jaylee Stacks fires me up because I just love he's not just a big back, he's a huge back.
He is. He's an Aurora kid too. He's got that Phil Lindsay dog too.
He has like a nasty jump cut for being that big.
I kind of like him.
Yes. Anyways, he'll never get a ton of carries for the Buffs, I don't think. I would love to be wrong about that because I like him a lot.
Of course.
But, anyways, I'll let you continue.
So then, dare I say, the Charlie Offerdahl hype could be for realsies.
Not in a leading rusher for the team.
I'm not inclined to believe it.
No. I mean, I believe the hype. Like, Coach Prime truly loves him, and he has his own nickname now. And I think he certainly saved himself from being asked to transfer.
And then a great name being thrown out, Dylan Edwards.
Yes.
Well, that maybe is the easy pick. This almost feels
Dylan
like
get enough
not yet on the roster. Could be if this was a DraftKings Sportsbook line, which is how we designed it in our minds. What is it like? Dylan Edwards is plus 250.
Cavassier Smoke is the heavy favorite.
You think really?
Yes. When you watch this offense, it is not I love it because it's all speed and athleticism on the outsides and it's power on the inside. And Cavassier Smoke, to me, looks like the guy who you can pretty much pencil in for 15 carries a game. Essentially, you're just using him because the point of running here is to force teams to bring more guys in. You're obviously, would you love to break a big run? Of course. And so you're going to bring in Dylan Edwards for some big, counters and things like that, where you just get two guys out in front of him, give him a lane to cut through and let him take off.
Yeah.
But the true point of running in this system is to make the defense add to the box. So you give the ball to Kavasier Smoke, you tell him, give me 4 and a fall forward, and it's going to force teams to say, damn it.
That's a good point.
Bring the safeties down.
Point.
And a second that you bring those safeties down, it's Jimmy Horn over the top, and you're in big trouble. So I think, Sean Lewis is one of those forward thinkers in the running game where he knows the running game is really just a tool for him to set things up. Then there's going to be games where you're just running it so well that you, of course, stay with it.
Yeah.
But the goal of running the ball in this system is smash some people, knock them over, force them to say, damn it, we cannot give them 5 yards on first down, and then you're in big trouble.
I like that. I love the sound of a nice little thunder lightning backfield with Smoke and Dylan Edwards. I mean, I've always been a fan of Fontenot. Really hard to handicap where the returning guys will fall.
Is he's still on the roster?
Yeah.
I don't think. Okay, maybe.
Buried deep. I mean,
I haven't seen. I don't remember seeing him. But Hankerson had a nice run in the last spring practice.
Right.
Offerdahl obviously in there. Dylan Edwards. I think there's going to come a time where he can be the Deuce Vaughn of this offense. But that time is not this season quite yet. Now, I think at one point I picked him to be the leading rusher.
Edwards.
Yes. But I've moved. I've come back to Kavasier Smoke mostly because of what I said. Dylan is going to be a big play threat for this team, and he's also going to play some slot receiver, I think. Coach Prime even mentioned it at the signing day press conference. But you just want a guy who knows where the hole is, hits it, and makes someone make a difficult tackle, and takes some small Pac-12 linebackers and throws them off him and does that. And it's just, again, I don't think Sean Lewis necessarily needs to have a touchdown threat on every run as much as he wants to set up a touchdown threat with the run.
Right, and I mean that sets up everything, because Sean Lewis has so much misdirection. It's one of those classic offenses where you'll have the O-line pull in one direction. You might get him with a little sweep going the other way, something like that. So yeah, you're setting up those north and south runs to then bring everything else that comes from the passing game and kind of those variations off of it. That's pretty good. I would merely say Dylan Edwards since those seem like the two main contenders. Part of me does wonder if not on the roster yet would be a smart bet. I mean, portal still.
I know.
It'll have a reopening.
It could reopen. They would obviously have to clear space probably directly from that room to be able to add to it because you have a lot of guys in there.
Pack Fontenot's bags already, so.
And Keep It Real Denver says Dylan is an all-purpose back. I fully believe that. I mean, he can catch, he can run.
It's just small guys.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a time where I picked him to lead the team in rushing, and I think there's an absolute chance that when he is able to refine himself as just a true running back rather than a guy who wants to score on every time, because it's not his fault. He could score every time he touched the ball in high school.
Yeah.
And so, you're always looking for a chance to get outside or whatever.
Right.
I think that's going to be on the coaching staff and, Coach Flea to essentially teach him, I need you to just go here.
I don't know that he's a pure back anyways, at least at this iteration of his career. But
that's why I say I think he could end up being Deuce Vaughn. And Deuce Vaughn was an every down back for Kansas State.
Yeah, he was. I was watching some Kansas State tape over the weekend, and it was just what are we doing? He's so good.
He is so fun to watch. I've been pounding the table for the Broncos. I mean, they got Samaje Perine. Why not add Deuce Vaughn to that backfield?
That'd be fun. He's going to be this draft feels like we're entering in an era of football small dudes can actually play in the league. Like
awesome.
Small dudes.
I mean, what is he, 5'6", Deuce?
Yeah, I mean, he's minuscule.
Yeah.
So good.
And he weighed in, I think, at 179, which is like unheard of.
And he's far from the lightest guy in this class. I mean, there's like potential first-round corners and wide receivers who aren't hitting 180. It's nuts.
Yep. So, again, I lean Cavassier just because I think that's why you bring in the experienced transfer, is just to be by the book.
Right.
Who's that? Remember that guy they brought in from West Virginia? Trayvon McMillan? He just like randomly came one year, transferred to the Buffs as a grad transfer, ran for 1,000 yards, and like it was just like very clean running, just advanced vision. Go where you need to go and hit the hole. Where did he transfer from? I don't know why West Virginia comes to mind. I could be wrong. Anyways, let's go on to the next one here. Next question is, the Buffs' leading tackler will be blank. By the way, Fontenot not on the spring roster. I didn't think he was still around.
Okay. It's lots of changes in college football. It's not like it used to be.
That's where we really miss Jake. And we actually do really miss Jake.
We absolutely do miss Jake. Chandler Semedo not on the roster anymore.
No. That's West Virginia. Trayvon McMillan was Virginia Tech. Thank you, guys.
Nicely done. Oh, yeah. Right. So that would have been your leading tackler a season ago.
Yes.
And here, of course, it opens up. It's not just one room, running back room we're focused on. You can look at the whole defense here. Trevor Woods was second in tackles on the team a season ago.
But he's in a very crowded safety room.
Very crowded safety room. And the defense is going to play way different than they did a year ago.
Yep.
Just schematically speaking.
Yes. And you're hoping that your safety isn't making tackles 15 yards down the field on runs as often as Trevor Woods was.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. So, like with the running back room, we had our top two contenders. I think here the betting favorites would be your two blue blood transfers, right? Levante Bentley and Demoy Kennedy.
Anyone who watches the show knows who I'm picking.
Kennedy.
Yes.
But more uncertainty on the injury.
Exactly, and that's what makes this a fun kind of betting line to set here. Levante Bentley, he's already on campus. He's already doing everything. He's out there in the drills. He's clearly the starting middle linebacker in spring practice. And you're hoping that Demoy Kennedy is out there and healthy. And we heard a report from Tim Brewster's son, who works for Rivals or 24/7. My apologies, Clint Brewster. I think that's his name. My apologies again if wrong. He said that Colorado's coaching staff believes that Demoy Kennedy has first-round talent if healthy. We trust his sources on that one.
Not exactly break. I think we could have said like Ryan Koenigsberg on the Wednesday Buffs pod said the same thing.
But it's nice to hear it from inside the building. And I'm so high on Demoy Kennedy. I was pounding the table for another inside linebacker transfer. They got the best possible one I think they could have gotten. And so, I got to go with my guy.
Jeremiah Brown?
Jeremiah Brown is an interesting one.
Really intriguing.
I'm a big JB fan, and I think I've mentioned this before, but when we saw that practice, his first step jumped off to me.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where I think he might be getting upfield a little bit too much to lead the team in tackling.
I know. Because Jordan Dominic, shout out to Jake, dropped the film room, amazing stuff. Feel like he could be a real impact guy, but he's not going to get those volume tackles.
Right, and that's why I just think the defense is probably going to be filtering to those middle linebackers.
Demoy Kennedy's an amazing pick. It's the pick with the most upside in this category. Bentley feels like the safest. Jeremiah Brown, the people's champ. The sprinkle that one at plus 800 type deal.
Yeah, there you go. Which one are you picking? Demoy?
I'll go safe guy to counter your Demoy and go Levante Bentley.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I hope Levante Bentley is dope.
I do too. That'd be lots of fun.
Also, I'm curious to see what number he ends up with.
Like this front could be sick.
The name like Bentley on the back of a jersey already looks so sick. I'm excited to see what number he pairs that with.
Stay tuned, I guess, on that one. Yeah.
I wonder when we're going to start seeing numbers given out.
I know. That'll be interesting.
Because I'm pretty sure Coach Prime said something along the lines of like, when your position coach tells me you're ready for your number, then we'll have that conversation. So guys could at any time now start coming in and saying, all right, you can give Shador 2.
Right.
You can give Travis Hunter 12 or 1, as has been theorized by some, although very quickly shot down by others.
Right.
So we'll see.
What's up?
All right, what's next? Who will be the Buffs' leading receiver?
Wide open.
Is it, though? So I think you have a clear favorite and a scary dark horse. And, of course, to me, the clear favorite is Jimmy Horn.
Yep.
And, man, I am just constantly more and more impressed with Jimmy Horn. I'm already thinking of, like, NIL stuff, combining his last name with the fact that there's like a buffalo horn. So I got some ideas cooking. There you go.
That kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. Something like that. Not really, but I like that too. So he's got to be the favorite, right? He's an absolute speed demon. I was really impressed with his route running ability when we went and watched him. We've seen some clips of him making big plays down the field. We've also seen some clips of him taking slants to the house. He's that level of speed. And while he is smaller in person than I thought he looked on videos, because, you get him out there in the white tank top on those fields in Florida, and you're like, dude, that guy's ripped.
Yeah.
And he is.
But
he is a little bit shorter, not your standard X wide receiver size.
Uh-huh.
That being said, he's got to be the favorite here. And I think he's maybe really underrated because he was on a fellow 1-11 team last season with a bad quarterback. So he's the favorite. Then you have the dark horse.
He is. And it's part of that's Jordan Tyson's injury.
Yes.
And here I give more credence to the returning Buffs than I do in the running back room.
But you can't sleep on the ultimate dark horse, Travis Hunter.
You cannot.
And we've debated it a million times now. We don't have to do the debate now. But there's always that looming chance that he becomes an offensive focused player. He's always going to play both sides. But if he's playing, 3-1 or 2-3, whatever it may be, offensive plays to defensive plays, or 3-2, then there's a chance he's going to be the number one wide receiver. We've seen plays from Jimmy Horn. We've also seen a lot of plays from Travis Hunter making plays down the field on the ball. His ball skills are just off the charts. So
he just makes plays.
This is the one where you would be like getting the most talented player at plus value because of the fact that he is a corner until we're told otherwise.
What about Xavier Weaver?
So he led USF in receiving last year over Jimmy Horn.
Yeah. More proven receiver, a little more size, right?
Yep. He's we just don't know. I don't know enough about him yet.
Travis also has the fact that he's got chemistry with
Shador.
With two.
I know. It's a hell of a race.
Damn you.
Then Montana I believe led the Buffs in receiving last year. Although it could have been anyone.
Right, you probably repressed it because you were.
Oh no, it's probably Jordan Tyson.
No, it was Jordan Tyson.
Okay, so
both Montana had more receptions, 23-22. Yikes, that passing game. But Tyson significantly more yards at 470, 21.4 yards a clip for Tyson.
Dude,
I cannot wait for him to come back.
He ran by Christian Gonzalez.
So true.
So a lot of options there, and then Shane Hooks, is he coming? If he is, 10 touchdowns last year for Jackson. a big 6'5" receiver who can move and will come in with immediate chemistry with Shedeur.
My, oh my.
What a race. That one might be the best one.
That's the
and
best
we thought
one,
it might be
indeed.
running back or linebacker.
I thought that was the more exciting because there is a clear favorite in Jimmy Horn.
There is.
But I don't know. Once you add Weaver to the mix,
I also think it's notable that MLC is like in.
Yeah.
He's like in the crew.
Oh, totally. Right. And already working out with two, like on spring
In
break
Miami.
and stuff. Yeah.
Invited to Miami.
Come on now. That means something.
It has to.
Miami invite means something. So they were in Florida when Dre was in Florida.
You?
Yeah, me. Florida
No.
Dre. I've told you about Florida Dre.
They were
Bucket
not.
hat
They
guy.
they were in Florida while Jake was in Hawaii.
Okay, fair. That's yep. That's how we do weeks around here. Who was on vacation that week? We should see our DNVR schedule. It's just Dre was.
I don't
on
know
vacation.
how long Jake has been gone. Feels like a month.
Feels like 2 years. I know. I know.
We miss you, Jake. Come home.
We do rely on him quite a bit.
He does a great job, man.
He does a great job. We love him for it. We've got what? So what's going on? I'm on the pod and you just go for 2 hours. What's happening?
What do you mean?
We're at an hour already. We're like
are we
halfway
really?
through this show.
So I have.
Why are you doing this with me? Were you doing this with the guest, the outside guest?
I
It's
have,
just going on forever.
I have like a disease where before the show I'm like, man, do we have enough content for this show? And then I add shit to it, and then we end up with
Watch
too much
this.
content. I don't think the comments are complaining
You're
about.
like proving a point to yourself. You're like, you thought this show would go.
Oh, you thought we didn't have content?
Watch this 2 o'clock, 3 p.m. Ryan. I'll show you. Not that there's anything wrong with us going long. I'm just.
To Connor Johnson, our resident Oregon State fan, Daniel Arias is no longer on the team.
Great TikTok follow, though.
Before we move on, I guess I should get to another ad read.
Why not?
Our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, get yourself some Breck Brews. Use the Breck Brew locator. You guys might think Breck Brew is only Colorado, but Breck Brew is nationwide.
Silly you.
You can get Avalanche Amber Ale. You can get Strawberry Sky. You can get even their Good Company hard seltzers all over the country. So use the Breck Brew locator at breckenridgebrewery.com/beer locator. Actually, it's breckbrew.com/beer locator to find out where you might be able to find some Breck Brews near you. What's your go-to, Dre? I don't know if I've ever asked you that before.
I mean, summer comes back around. I fire the old Straub Sky back up.
Yep.
Kind of been a lager guy the last year or so. Going back to my roots, you know?
I feel as though...
Well, not my roots in particular, but, you know.
Yeah, I'm a lager guy myself.
Yeah. Well, why not? You know, you just need some crushable stuff.
Let
me crush while I've got some wagers on the sports I watch.
I pretty much exclusively order drinks as like, do I want 4 of these?
Smart.
I like consistency. You know, I just want to go back to back. I'm not trying to mix it up.
If you're going to be anything today, be consistent.
That is a great poll. That's a great poll.
Thank you.
Coach Prime inspires me when I go to the bar.
Oh my God. Ever since the Coach Prime hire, I know this is a Breck read, but allow me. And Jake will just spit Coach Prime-isms to me he'll shock me.
Yeah. I feel as though listening to Coach Prime on a day in, day out basis has made me a better person.
Yeah, makes you wiser for sure.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Gives you much better lines to spit.
You know what's a perfect Coach Prime line for Angel Reese? Don't let my confidence offend your insecurity. Bang.
That's a great one.
We should send her that.
That's great.
And also Fubo TV, finally a way to watch the Avs and Nuggets right on your TV. I get home, I press the home button on my smart TV. Boom. First thing that comes up is Fubo. Click that. It's probably already on altitude. Watch me.
Who would have switched it?
Exactly. Turn on the Nuggets, turn on the Avs. Absolute best way to watch right now. And more to come from Fubo TV.
Dang. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to Fubo TV.
Use that code DNVR. It's FuboTV.com/DNVR.
Yes, exactly.
That /DNVR does so much for your guys over here.
Yep.
Just throw that into your browser. See what happens. Give this QR code a spin.
A scan,
Take it out
yes.
for a spin. Take it out for a scan. Yeah.
I've become a big QR code guy. Just love QR codes now.
I've got, in the drop down for your phone, I have a special QR code thing.
Let's see if I have that.
I added that a while back.
Wow.
It's an add-on. Yeah, you got to go into your settings and add that one.
Wow, that's big time.
Yeah.
Big time stuff from you.
Fubo TV, baby. Fubo TV.
Glenn Ward, who I think is maybe a little behind on the stream, said Jaylee Stack should fit in just fine. If I'm right, I think he's referring to me talking about kind of the stay on schedule with running the ball is important. I agree. I love Jaylee Stacks.
We are low-key a Jaylee Stacks.
The thing is,
podcast.
I love fullbacks. And Jaylee Stacks is essentially a fullback playing running back.
So true.
Love fullbacks.
Man, how many of these guys need to get... RJ Sneed's gonzo as well, right?
Yes. What a disappointing year for me.
Did not work out like we hoped.
He was getting like 1,000-yard hype.
Yes.
Before the season.
That's when I did this last with Jake. Yeah, okay.
There you go. That was Henry. That would have been Henry.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like Henry's been doing the Broncos for like years now?
Yeah.
It's only a matter of months. Not even a full year.
Oh, man.
Okay. Here we go. We still have a couple more of these to hit, and then we'll get to your guys' questions.
Game, yeah.
Who is this the last one?
There's 3.
Oh, and their returns. Okay, who will be the Buffs' leading interceptor? Got to be Travis Hunter as a heavy favorite here. But let's live in a world where
minus like 800.
You would have said Pat Surtain would be the Broncos' leading interceptor last year, but offenses get scared. They don't throw at him. So who comes in next?
Right. So then would it be Cormani McLean, who's not on campus just yet? Do you go with
like Shiloh might get some money on him here?
Wow. Nico Reed, of course.
Nico Reed definitely is going to get his opportunities to snag the ball.
And gosh, I don't have it here. Miles Slusher.
Yep.
That's the old
Cam Silman Craig,
right?
But he's also... They have a lot of hitters back there.
Yeah. I mean, Headache CO, people will throw him out there. I don't think with interceptions he's a...
I mean, he did.
Could be some Cormani,
So
leave Travis alone and pick on Cormani, and Cormani picks you.
I'm so sad that Cormani is not on campus right now.
I know.
Because I just want to see. I want to see it so bad.
Yes.
There always exists the question marks of what does he look like guarding Jimmy Horn? We've seen him just absolutely locked down. We know he has all of the tools. We know he's physically ready. We know he's fast enough, and he has the length and all of that good stuff. I just want to see it because you might see it and be like, "Oh my God, no one's going to be able to throw on this team." And then I might start picking the safeties because I'm like, well, they're going to have to attack somewhere else in the field because it's not going to be on the sidelines.
Oh, I was thinking of Kendrick Breedlove, the Ole Miss kid.
Breedlove, you love Breedlove.
I do. His high school tape is really. He's got a physicality to him that really stood out to me. And I think because of that, he could play some safety. He's got the athleticism. He's got good, not great size. Good enough for college.
I believe he's also gotten some 4.3 buzz.
Mm-hmm.
So...
physically speaking, kind of jumps off the screen.
Well, I mean, the fact that we rarely talk about him on this show and you love him fires me up.
No, it tells you everything. I mean,
Cormani, Travis, Nico, Breedlove.
On paper, the back seven has really high ceiling.
And you have Shiloh, Slusher, Cam, Trevor Woods. I'm probably even forgetting someone.
Yeah. Did you say Nico Reed in one of these?
I did say Nico. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's impressive.
We talk a lot about the offense because the offense is fun to talk about and Shador's amazing. If Cormani lives up to the hype, there's just a chance that teams might not be able to do anything against them.
Yep.
And then Demoy, or what if he's held there is the ceiling for this defense is scary.
And we'll get into the front in a second, which is probably the part that gets me most hype. So would you go safe Travis Hunter here? Or would you go
Tavion Beasley?
Intuitive. Yeah. See, I mean, there's guys we don't remember.
Crazy.
Would you go chalk though? Or would you go with counterintuitive, no, this guy is...
I think it's going to... I'm going to take... And this is a show of respect for Travis Hunter and Cormani McLean. I think teams are going to be afraid to throw at him. I'm going to say Nico.
Nico feels like a safe one. I'll plant my flag on Breedlove. Feels like good odds.
You're getting plus 1,000.
Love me a plus 1,000 bet.
All right. A couple more here. Let's keep it rolling. Who will be the Buffs' leading sacker?
Has to be Jordan Dominic?
So you'd be hard-pressed to move off of Jordan Dominic, a double-digit SEC sack master.
Yep. Upshaw in the mix. You're a big Shane Cokes guy.
I love me some Shane Cokes, but that's coming from the interior where it's just hard to rack up. I think it's going to come from the interior. He's so versatile that he can really play anywhere. Yep. You always talk about transition for guys like, I guess what I'm saying here is the transition for Jordan Dominic is actually a downshift.
Yeah. Yep. SEC
Whereas
West to Pac-12
Shane
South.
Cokes is coming from the Ivy League. I love Shane Cokes, but he's clearly going up, and you can definitely make the argument, if not a fact, that Jordan Dominic's competition will be easier here in the Pac-12. Obviously, quarterbacks make that a little more difficult. Like, you have some great quarterbacks in this conference, and sacks are half the time on the line and half the time on the quarterback. So you have to. Jordan Dominic is like a minus 200 favorite probably, and I'm gonna stick with that.
And Jeremiah Brown, chat. I see you. I hear
Jeremiah
you.
Brown has to be in the mix. Like I said, when I saw that first step, I was like, oh.
No, has to.
Yeah.
Those are the main contenders because as much as I love Leonard Payne, you can love Shane Cokes, as you said, tougher from the interior. This is another category where, like, keep your antennas up because you never know what may come from the portal.
This is a position where I could see them absolutely taking some more players at. And that's not a slight to anyone. It's just, I believe it's George Payton, general manager of the Broncos, who essentially said you can never have too many pass rushers.
Never.
Because it's an exhausting position.
Yeah.
You're going to turn it up to 100 on every down.
Well, and as you were saying, it's the Pac-12. We're dropping back to pass it like 50 times a game.
Cycle those guys in, bring someone new in.
Yeah.
Again, another one where it's like, if this coverage is as good as we think it can be, those guys are going to eat.
100%. All in on Dominic here, though.
And maybe you have like Bentley or DeMoy Kennedy as a spy because the coverage is going to be good, and you're bringing those guys off the edge, and you just let him stay in the middle there. Like we've talked about it before, but that was the entire game plan against Texas A&M. When they clamped down that Texas A&M team that had some legitimate NFL talent. They just had Nate Landman play the middle, press man on the outside, cover two over the top. Boom.
Love it when you talk ball like that, man.
All right. Final one. Who will be the Buffs' leading punt returner? Why don't we just group punt and kick returner into one here?
Yeah, there you go.
So
Who are my candidates with Jordan out, though?
So here's the thing. Jimmy Horn is a freak returner.
Yeah.
And as long as Coach Prime is the type of coach, and maybe the chat can help us out here because I haven't watched too much Jackson State special teams film. I love this. Maybe you guys can help us out. Is Coach Prime a put your best at returner type of guy? Because if he is, it's Jimmy Horn with a bullet, game over. You gotta put the rock in his hands. If not, then it opens things up. Is it a Nico Reed? Again, Nico is going to be really valuable too. Dylan Edwards, I could see getting the first kick return of the season.
Dylan Edwards would be a very nice candidate.
And again, it's not a slight at all to Dylan Edwards. He's a true freshman who's coming in. He's not, in my opinion, he's not going to be leaned on as the bell cow back of this team. So you feel like you have a little more license to play him in those positions.
Right.
But
actually, my guy Breedlove, I think, would be in the mix.
Breedlove at punt returner or a kick returner?
I think it's more kick returner.
Okay. I love this is amazing that there's this many options. We're talking about 3-4-3 guys right now. Jimmy Horn, Dylan Edwards, and Breedlove.
With maybe the best returner in the pack last year recovering from injury.
The thing is,
I just very much in the mix.
I just think that like Jimmy Horn is like
with this depth, I think he goes Jimmy. Yeah, now,
but if he's wide receiver 1,
I know. And then there, in special situations. Yeah, I mean, if Kelvin Coleman was returning, he was a high-end player for them.
Kevin Coleman was probably wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Wow. Jimmy Horn at returner would be electric.
Insane.
I mean,
especially with like Dylan Edwards and Breedlove as your alternatives.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Chat would probably remember this too. I'm pretty sure when Jake asked him what players do you model your game after, what NFL players did you look up to, the first person he mentioned was Devin Hester.
Ooh.
So,
another Florida boy.
Love that. All right.
Wow.
Oh, I'm excited for returns. I can't believe I'm excited for returns. But Nico Reed was also a beast. I think he led the Pac-12 in average kick return. He probably returned more kicks than anyone.
Yeah, you're not far off on that one.
All right,
I had it here.
Let's move on here. Help us out with some likes. I can't actually see the number. It's smaller than normal today, but 182. Or I'm getting older. Both things probably true. There you go. Lawrence in the comments says Horn punt returner, Edwards kick returner. I could see that for sure.
There you go.
So there we go. It's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be amazing.
I can't wait to watch this speed in space.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, got some questions here today. First one comes in from D. Lee. Does today's video give you guys any extra added confidence in the altitude advantage during home games this upcoming season? If nothing else, these guys are definitely going to be in some shape. I think the combination of how good a shape these guys are going to be in, which you might end up being like one of the most well-conditioned Colorado teams ever, mix that in with the Sean Lewis pace, the buff fast offense, as he calls it. I think they could have some defensive lines absolutely in a blender at the end of a game.
Be so incredible to, like, in college football of all sports, feels like the sport where you could really take advantage of this with an up-tempo, misdirection, just all in super fast spread offense.
And that again goes back to the starting running back conversation, which is if you're getting off, if you're biting off 5 yards, watch what happens when the defense tries to bring in their heavy defensive line package to stop the run. Because then you go bang, 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 throw it out to the flat to Dylan Edwards, throw it out to the flat to Jimmy Horn. You're eating up space. You're right back up at the line. They've got 330 pounders huffing and puffing at altitude. I mean, you can really start to imagine a world where you can just put defenses on their back because you went hurry up when they had the wrong group in there, and those guys weren't ready to run with these offensive linemen who are being pushed to the brink every single day in terms of their conditioning.
Yeah, it's I don't know how many is that something coaches really touched on before? It'll get mentioned, the altitude.
The altitude.
It's never really like,
most I've heard is just like the players joking about it. Like Shador on that paper route thing, they were like, "What's the biggest obstacle for you?" And he was like, "The altitude," kind of like joking. But it's certainly something that you have to get used to.
Oh yeah.
And other teams don't have the opportunity to get used to it.
It's not like Nuggets basketball or Rockies baseball where it gets mentioned quite a bit.
No.
Yeah.
I would love for it to get mentioned because that means the Buffs are winning lots of games at home, and people are like, is the altitude an unfair advantage for Colorado?
Or the stories like how Coach Prime and Colorado football have taken advantage of.
They're telling us to put the football in the in the humidor.
Right. Oh,
would you say you like our impersonation of like an old timey news?
Yeah, mine was more local news. Ryan did more of the Sports Center. It was good. Good.
All right, next one from Willett. It says, we are in April now. Can we get some info on spring game / DNVR tailgate? Andre's one of the people that I've been telling that we get asked about this every day. I think we are very close to being able to announce our final plans. I am going to, just so you guys know, I'm going to be in Boulder Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at practice. At least as of now, that's what I believe the practice schedule is for us media. I don't know if we're going to get to watch any or all of anything. But the point is, after those practices, going to be doing some meetings to finalize some plans.
There you go.
So, I promise there will be a plan.
Yeah.
You have my word. Okay, will teams play a shell defense against the Buffs like they do against the Chiefs? I see a lot of teams keeping 2 safeties back and making 2 walk the ball down the field. This offense would love for you to do that. This offense would love for you to do that.
The way this offense should be designed, if working at its best, you'll see defenses counter it the way Big 12 defenses have been countering these kind of spread out offenses for the last 5 to 10 years. And it starts with a 3 safety look. 3 safeties has kind of been the standard.
Playing where?
I mean, it's...
So you've got your 2 high
and
then
nickel, and you're trusting one of those safeties to play close to the line of scrimmage and make enough of a difference in the box for it to not completely bite you.
Yeah, I remember the Buffs using Davion Taylor in that sort of role and just like trying to... Your job is to blow up screens.
Yep. And he was really
great.
good at that. And a lot of those Pac-12, Big 12 defenses are even going with 3-man fronts, but it's a really light 3-man front.
TCU.
It's all finesse.
TCU ran strictly 3-3-5 on defense last year. It's crazy to watch.
They actually had more beef on that front. Like
yeah, they
Iowa State's got Will McDonald, who's not even 240 pounds in a 3-man front. The leading sack leader from a season prior at Kansas State, Felix Anduka Uwazurike, on the front 3, and he's like a 250. He's like a Shane Ray type edge rusher, in a front 3.
But again, it's so easy for me now to talk about this. Obviously, it'll get more difficult as defenses start making counter moves. But like, I feel like this offense is a counter move for every counter move.
You would think so. I mean, that's football.
It is, but I'm just like,
we were not at that point in years prior. I
and it's like, I think 3-3-5 is actually an interesting way of trying to counter this, because you're just essentially like, you're putting guys in a lot of space.
Right.
And you just have to have the guys to go make plays. If you don't, it's not going to matter. But, you put 3 down, you're counting on those 3 to filter the run to those 3 linebackers. They, you're expecting them to make that tackle. If you're going out to the edges, you're expecting those two linebackers on the outside to be able to fly out there. You've got all those, defensive backs out there that you're expecting to fly to the ball. So like, that's what the Buffs are going to face in week 1 and week 2. TCU, all 3-3-5, and then Nebraska's new defensive coordinator has essentially said they're going to do the same thing. So I'm curious to see how that works with like 6 offensive linemen against Iowa. But
yeah, that sounds absurd for Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly. But it's gonna pose a great challenge for the Buffs. I love it though, because they have the entire offseason to prepare for how they're going to attack that defense, and they get to play it 2 weeks in a row to start the season.
No. And ultimately, it's not going to be that far off what the Buffs will be running on defense themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's similar to what your own D is trying to implement.
For sure.
So, but it'll be fun, man.
A couple more questions here. I see one from, what is that, Jabriel? Who says, RK, will the Buffs do a draft for the spring game? We don't know yet. There's a part of me that, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks Shedeur has to play all-time quarterback, but I just don't think they're gonna subject him to that. Unless, it's just a don't touch him rule, which I would support wholeheartedly.
I would imagine that's
and so maybe he play. I don't know, not entirely, because you got to get the other guys reps.
Yeah,
but maybe there's 2 teams playing with Shedeur to start or whatever, and then you bring in. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking this from a pure entertainment standpoint. The thing is, like, the second quarterback is such a big drop off from Shedeur that whoever gets him, if it was a draft, is winning the game.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
They
They are really depth deficient.
You know what I think is going to happen? You're going to get 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s. And it's going to be an offense versus defense scrimmage where they come up with some point system. A punt is worth this many points.
Yeah.
A turnover is worth this many points. A touchdown is worth this many points. A field goal is worth, obviously,
guaranteed.
6 and
that's
3.
how they do it.
That's probably got to be the way to do it, because you're not going to put Shador Sanders behind a hodgepodge offensive line of like 2 starters and a draft. So I'm glad we talked that through. I see some people in the comments mentioning it too. Offense versus defense at Chris McCray. I think that's the point. Yep.
That's good thinking.
It's a fun matchup. Offense has some catching up to do just because defense always gets a head start in schemes and whatnot. There's so much less for them to learn.
Yeah. Can't wait to watch this as we were talking about.
From Best by Far 111, is the offensive line big enough?
Purely on paper.
They're big. They're huge. You got 6'8" and I think 6'10" on the bookends with Tank on one side.
Yeah, on the if this is the scale, this is the line, right? And I'm more on the side of the line is too big than they're too small.
Oh, because you don't like you can be too hot, you can be too tall to play tackle type of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
got those
I don't
quick
know.
guys ducking under you.
Sean Lewis has these guys moving all the time. Like,
but he was the same. He was 6'8" on both bookends at Kent State.
They're getting downhill and flattening guys. Like, I get it.
Imagine you're the size of
It's a
Kendrick
power
Breedlove and Savion Washington is coming around the edge to block you.
Yeah, that'd be intense. So if anything, they're too big. I do not have concerns that they're too small.
Yeah,
not
I mean,
anymore.
Are
they athletic enough?
You're in like
those
the
will be more
90 plus percentile at every position
They're
in terms of
huge.
height.
They're huge.
And you certainly don't want these guys gaining too much weight with how much running they need to do. You're actually having them lose weight right now. I would assume.
Pure height on paper, they're bigger. They're bigger than most NFL lines, dude.
Yeah, they're huge. And that's the way Sean Lewis likes it. I'd like actually next time we get a chance to talk to him, I want to ask him why he likes such big offensive linemen.
Keep doing you, Sean Lewis. We're big fans.
I'm probably the number one Sean Lewis fan in the country.
You are. I think you are. And yet I love that scheme. It's real Lincoln Riley-esque. Maybe we got some Garrett Riley guys in the chat. Very Garrett Riley-esque. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I see Baylor, a lot of Baylor.
Art Briles.
Yes. I never like to bring up his name
I
because he's
know.
Gross.
Thou who shall not
He doesn't
be spoken of. Yeah.
deserve much credit, but that
Good for
offense
you.
was dangerous.
It
All
was.
right.
It scarred you.
Anything
Scarred
else? I think that is it for us. This has been a good one.
Yeah, that's a good. You had a great time. You could have just gone all day.
I mean, I really could.
Yeah, I love that for us.
I'll let you get back to your family now.
Thanks.
All right, that wraps it up for us today. We'll be back with you tomorrow. And hopefully some snippets from another spring practice that the media gets at least to talk to some people afterwards. So appreciate you guys. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.